Have you ever noticed the more you chase people, the faster they run? And the moment you pull back, suddenly they're calling, texting, and asking, "Hey, where have you been?" Funny, isn't it? But here's the truth. In life, people don't value what's easily available. Not your time, not your kindness, not even you. These three words can change the way you live, love, and lead your life. But sadly, most of us forget this simple truth in the hustle of daily living. We wake up, we try to please everyone, we stretch ourselves thin for others, and then, at the end of the day, we sit quietly and wonder why no one values us the way we wish they would. The reason isn't that people are bad. The reason is that you have never truly shown them your worth because you haven't learned to see it yourself. Think about this: gold is just a metal, but it is valued more than many other metals because of how rare it is. Water is abundant, and we spill it without thought. But if you are stranded in a desert, even one sip of water becomes more valuable than gold. This is exactly how people value you. When you are always available, always saying yes, always sacrificing yourself to keep everyone else happy, you are telling the world, "I am easy. I don't need to be valued." And people treat you accordingly. Knowing your worth is not arrogance. It is quiet confidence. It is that calm assurance that says, "I don't need to run after anyone to prove I'm good enough. I am already enough." Take an example from daily life. Imagine you have a friend who calls you only when they need something. You drop everything to help them every single time. And yet, when you need them, they are suddenly too busy or too tired. You feel hurt, but you keep going back, hoping that maybe this time they'll value your effort. But they never do. Why? Because your behavior has taught them that your time, your help, your energy are free. And what is free is often taken for granted. Now, think about another situation. There's someone in your workplace who always maintains their boundaries. They are helpful, but they don't bend over backward for everyone. They do their work with excellence. They treat people with kindness, but they also carry themselves with dignity. What happens? People respect them. They value their time and their opinions. That's the power of knowing your worth. When you start valuing yourself, your whole energy changes. You no longer feel the need to over-explain, over-give, or over-please. You don't allow others to use you as a doormat. Instead, you quietly step back from people and situations that drain you, and you start investing in yourself. That investment in your growth, your peace, your happiness, automatically makes you more valuable in the eyes of others. Consider relationships. How many times do people stay in unhealthy friendships or toxic relationships? Because they don't believe they deserve better. They tell themselves, "At least someone cares," or "Maybe if I try harder, they'll love me more." But here's the truth. If you don't know your worth, you will settle for less than you deserve every single time. And the saddest part is, the more you tolerate that treatment, the harder it becomes to believe you deserve better. Knowing your worth is also about protecting your energy. You don't have to be available for every call, every favor, every request. It's okay to say no without feeling guilty. It's okay to put your phone on silent and focus on your own peace. It's okay to walk away from people who don't appreciate your presence. Let me share a simple example. There was once a man who owned a beautiful watch, a family heirloom. He asked his son to take it to the marketplace to see how much people would pay for it. In the regular market, people offered a few dollars. In the pawn shop, someone offered a bit more. But when the father told the son to take the watch to a collector, the collector offered thousands of dollars because he understood its true value. The father told his son the same watch that others dismissed as ordinary was valued by the one who understood its worth. Remember, not everyone will see your value. That doesn't make you less valuable. It just means you're in the wrong place. Life is exactly like that. Some people will never see your worth because they are not capable of seeing it. That doesn't mean you need to lower yourself to fit their vision. Instead, you need to place yourself where you are valued and respected for who you are. Knowing your worth also teaches you patience. You stop settling for crumbs just because you're hungry. You start trusting that the right opportunities, the right people, the right situations will come when you're ready, and that you are deserving of them. And most importantly, knowing your worth gives you freedom. You are no longer trapped by the fear of losing people or opportunities because you understand something powerful. What is meant for you will not pass you by. You stop chasing and start attracting, not because you're trying harder, but because you are standing tall in your confidence and self-respect. So today, take a moment and ask yourself, do I know my worth? Do I treat myself like someone valuable? Do I demand the respect I deserve? Or am I allowing myself to be undervalued because I'm afraid to stand up for myself? The day you truly understand your worth is the day your life begins to change. People will treat you the way you teach them to treat you. And when you start teaching the world through your actions that you value yourself, you will notice a shift. Some people will drift away. Let them. The ones who remain will be those who truly value you. Remember, you are not cheap. You are not ordinary. You are a once-in-a-lifetime creation, rare and precious. Don't ever let the world convince you otherwise. Stand tall, know your worth, and carry yourself like someone who understands that their presence is a privilege. Because it is. ChatGPT said, boundaries build respect. At first, this idea might sound harsh, even selfish. After all, we're taught since childhood to be generous, to share, to always be available for others. But there's a simple truth life keeps teaching us again and again. If you don't set healthy boundaries, people will unconsciously, and sometimes consciously, take advantage of you, not because they are evil, but because you have shown them that your time, your energy, your kindness, and even your peace are open for unlimited access. Think of a house. Every house has a door, and every door has a lock. Why? Because what's valuable inside must be protected. Imagine living in a house with no locks. Anyone could walk in, use your things, eat your food, and even leave a mess, and you would have no control. Your life would feel chaotic, unsafe, and exhausting. That's exactly what happens when you live without boundaries. People come and go, taking what they want, leaving behind stress, frustration, and emptiness. And you're left wondering why you feel drained all the time. Now, let's bring this idea closer to daily life. Imagine you have a colleague who always dumps their work on you. The first time, you think, It's okay, I'll help. The second time, you convince yourself, maybe they're having a tough week, but then it becomes a pattern. Before you know it, you're staying late every evening, doing both your work and theirs. And here's the kicker: they don't even thank you anymore. Why? Because your silence has told them that it's acceptable. You didn't set the boundary, and now you're paying the price. Boundaries don't mean you love less or care less. They simply mean you care about yourself too. They protect your mental health, your time, and your energy so that when you do give, you give from a place of strength and not from exhaustion. Think of relationships, romantic or platonic. Have you ever noticed how some people treat you better when they know there are certain lines they cannot cross? It's not because they're afraid of you, it's because they respect you. And respect grows where there are healthy boundaries. If you're always the one adjusting your plans, ignoring your needs, and tolerating disrespect just to keep the peace, then you've taught others that you don't need to be treated with dignity. Boundaries are not walls, they are gates. They don't keep everyone out, but they decide what and who you allow in. When you know how to say no, you also make space for the right yes, the people, opportunities, and situations that truly value you. Consider the story of a teacher I once heard. She was kind, warm, and always willing to stay late to help students. But over time, she realized she was burning out. Parents were messaging her late at night. Students expected her to be available 24/7, and her personal life was suffering. One day, she decided to create clear rules: no emails after 6 p.m., no weekend work, unless there was an emergency. At first, people resisted, they complained, but over time they adapted, and something beautiful happened. They began to value her time more. She became more respected, and she was able to show up with more energy and kindness during her work hours. This is what boundaries do. They teach people how to treat you. They silently communicate, I value myself, and I expect you to value me too. It's also important to understand that setting boundaries isn't about anger or revenge. It's not about saying, I'll show you. It's about calmly, consistently showing others what your limits are without guilt. Guilt is what keeps so many people trapped in cycles of over-giving. They think saying no means they're selfish, but in reality, saying no is one of the kindest things you can do for yourself and for others. Why? Because when you protect your energy, you show up in relationships as your best self, present, calm, and balanced, instead of frustrated and resentful. There's another powerful thing about boundaries: they filter your circle. When you start setting them, some people will leave. The ones who were only around because they could use you will drift away, and yes, it will hurt at first. But with time, you'll realize it was a blessing. The people who stay are the ones who truly care, the ones who love and respect you for who you are, not just for what you give. Imagine a phone battery. If you keep giving away your charge to everyone who needs it, but you never recharge yourself, what happens? Your battery dies, and then you can't help anyone, not even yourself. Boundaries are your way of recharging. They help you say, I can help you, but I also need time to rest, to grow, to just be me. And here's a little secret. The world starts to treat you the way you treat yourself. When you honor your own time, your own value, your own peace, others begin to do the same. You no longer have to demand respect. You radiate it and people sense it. So, start small. Maybe it's saying no to a task you can't handle, or telling someone you need time to think before committing, or simply turning off your phone after a certain hour. These small boundaries send a powerful message. My time and energy are valuable, and I respect myself enough to protect them. In the end, boundaries don't push people away, they draw the right people closer. They create healthier relationships, stronger self respect, and a life where you can give with joy instead of exhaustion. Remember this: those who truly care for you will never be upset by your boundaries. They'll understand because they want you to be happy, healthy, and at peace. And those who walk away, let them. Your worth is not determined by how much you allow others to take from you, but by how much you respect yourself. Stop chasing people. These three words hold the power to change your relationships, your peace of mind, and even the way you see yourself. So many of us spend our days running after people, friends, partners, colleagues, sometimes even family, desperately trying to hold on to their attention, their approval, their love. And in that endless chase, we slowly lose the most important relationship we have, the one with ourselves. Think about it. When you chase someone, what are you really saying? You're saying, I'm not enough as I am. I need your attention, your validation, your presence to feel worthy. But here's the irony: the more you run after someone, the less they value you. Human nature works in mysterious ways. We tend to treasure what we have to earn, and we take for granted what we don't have to work for. Imagine you're at a market and one vendor is loudly begging people to take his product. Please, please, just take it. It's the best. People will look at him with suspicion. If it's so valuable, they'll think, why is he begging to give it away? Meanwhile, another vendor, quiet and calm, doesn't chase anyone. People line up at his stall because they sense confidence. They sense value. That's how life works too. When you stop chasing people, you stop cheapening your worth. Think about relationships. Maybe you've been in a friendship where you were always the one initiating, the one calling, the one texting, the one making plans. And when you stopped, the friendship faded. At first it hurts. You start to think, did they ever really care about me? And that question hurts. But it also teaches you something important. Relationships should be mutual. You should not have to beg to be valued. Or think about that colleague who only remembers you when they need help. You bend over backward for them, hoping that maybe someday they'll notice your loyalty. But what happens? They take your efforts, they say a quick thanks, and then they vanish until the next time they need you. That cycle doesn't break until you stop running after their approval. There's a strange kind of power that comes when you stop chasing people. At first, it feels lonely, even scary. You worry, what if they forget me? What if I end up alone? But slowly, you realize something beautiful. The right people don't need to be chased. The right people stay. The right people meet you halfway. The right people value your presence because they know it's not something they're entitled to. It's something they're privileged to have. Think of a garden. If you keep watering a dead plant, No matter how much time, love, and effort you pour into it, it will never bloom. But if you take that same water, that same energy, and pour it into healthy soil, something beautiful grows. That's what happens when you stop chasing people and start investing in yourself instead. You begin to grow, and as you grow, you attract better relationships. Ones that don't drain you, but nourish you. There's also peace in letting go. Chasing people is exhausting. You're constantly thinking about what to say, what to do, how to act, all to keep someone's attention. It's like running on a treadmill. You're moving, but you're not actually going anywhere. The moment you step off, you realize how much energy you've wasted on someone who was never running toward you in the first place. And here's the thing, when you stop chasing, the people who truly care about you will notice. They will step up. They will meet you in that quiet space of respect and mutual effort. And the ones who don't, they were never meant to stay. It's better to know that truth now than to spend years investing in people who were never invested in you. This doesn't mean you stop caring about people or that you build walls around your heart. It simply means you stop running after people who keep walking away. You stop begging for a place in someone's life where you were never meant to fit. Instead, you take that energy and pour it into yourself, your growth, your passions, your health, your happiness. And when you do that, you find something surprising. People start gravitating toward you. Not because you begged for their attention, but because confidence, peace, and self-worth are magnetic. I once heard a story about a man who spent years trying to win the friendship of someone who never really acknowledged him. He would go out of his way to do favors, remember birthdays, and check in. But it was always one-sided. Finally, one day, he stopped, not with anger, but with quiet acceptance. And a funny thing happened. He began to find new friends, people who appreciated his kindness without him having to chase them. That's the power of letting go. Life is too short to beg for love, respect, or attention. The relationships that truly matter will never require you to run marathons to keep them alive. They will feel effortless, mutual, and balanced. So stop chasing people. Stop convincing anyone of your value. The right people already see it. The wrong people never will, no matter what you do. And that's okay. Let them go. When you stop chasing, you create space for what you truly deserve. You learn to walk with dignity, to stand in your own worth, and to trust that the right connections will find you at the right time. And when they do, you'll finally understand that you never had to run after anyone. You only had to walk steadily, confidently, and unapologetically as yourself. ChatGPT said, quality over quantity. In a world where numbers seem to define our worth, followers, likes, contacts, friends, this simple truth is often forgotten. We live in a time where people are obsessed with having more connections, more recognition, more validation. But what we fail to realize is that more doesn't always mean better. What truly enriches our lives isn't the quantity of relationships, opportunities, or possessions we have, but the quality of them. Think about friendships. Many people boast about having hundreds or even thousands of friends on social media. They take pride in their long contact lists and endless group chats. But when life gets tough, when their world feels like it's falling apart, how many of those friends actually show up. Often, it's only one or two, the ones who truly care. That's when you realize that it's not about how many people know your name, it's about how many people genuinely know you. Imagine a birthday party. You invite 50 people, and the room is loud, full of chatter, but shallow. Everyone is there to take pictures, to post stories, to show they were there. And then imagine another birthday with just two close friends who spend the whole evening laughing, talking, and sharing memories. Which one do you think would make your heart feel fuller? That's the difference between quantity and quality. One fills your space, the other fills your soul. This principle applies to every area of life. Take work, for example. Some people take on endless projects, say yes to every task, and stay busy all the time, thinking that productivity means doing more. But true progress often comes from focusing on fewer things and doing them with excellence. A person who masters one skill with dedication and focus will often go farther than someone who tries to juggle 10 things without depth. Quality over quantity is also about time. How many times have you been in a room with your family, but spent the whole time scrolling on your phone, half listening to conversations? Physically you were there, but emotionally you were absent. That 1 hour, though present, lacked quality. Now imagine sitting down, putting your phone away, and giving that same 1 hour your full attention, listening, laughing, being completely present. That hour, though the same in length, becomes priceless because of its depth. Think about relationships too. Many people jump from one friendship or relationship to another, always chasing the next connection, afraid of being alone. But often fewer, deeper connections bring far more peace and fulfillment than spreading yourself thin across dozens of surface level relationships. It's like a tree. The deeper the roots, the stronger it stands. Shallow roots, no matter how many, can't withstand a storm. Consider the example of Lord Krishna. He was surrounded by countless devotees, people who adored and followed him. But only a handful, like Arjuna, were truly close to him, people he could trust with his heart and his deepest teachings. That's a lesson for us. Not everyone who smiles at you is your friend. Not everyone who claps for you wants to see you win. It's not about how many surround you, but how many stand by you when no one else does. Even in personal growth, quality matters. Reading 100 books without applying a single lesson is less valuable than reading one book, truly understanding it, and letting it transform your life. Spending hours at the gym without focus is less impactful than a short, intentional workout done with discipline. Depth will always outweigh breadth. There's also something peaceful about choosing quality over quantity. When you stop trying to please everyone, you free yourself from exhaustion. You no longer feel the need to be everywhere, to know everyone, to keep up appearances. You begin to value fewer, deeper experiences. A quiet evening with a loved one, a deep conversation with a friend, a single act of kindness done sincerely. These moments bring more joy than 1,000 shallow interactions ever could. I once heard a story about a man who spent years trying to be everywhere and know everyone. He thought that the more people he had around him, the more successful and loved he would feel. But when a personal crisis hit, almost everyone disappeared. Only 2 friends stayed. 2 people he had always taken for granted because he was too busy chasing numbers. That experience taught him a hard truth: loyalty and depth can't be measured by quantity. Choosing quality over quantity also makes you more intentional. You stop saying yes to every invitation, every request, every opportunity. Instead, you pause and ask, does this align with my values? Will this bring real growth, real joy, real connection? And as you make those choices, your life begins to feel lighter, more focused, more meaningful. The beauty of quality is that it lasts. A quality friendship can withstand time and distance. A quality effort produces lasting results. A quality conversation can stay with you for years. Quantity, on the other hand, is fleeting. It fills your calendar, your shelves, your phone, but rarely your heart. And here's something profound. When you prioritize quality, the quantity that truly matters follows naturally. When you focus on building one meaningful relationship, it opens doors to others of the same depth. When you put your best into one project, it often leads to more opportunities. It's not about having less. It's about creating a strong foundation so that whatever grows from it is real, steady, and fulfilling. Life isn't about how much you can accumulate, people, things, experiences. It's about how deeply you can live, how authentically you can connect, and how sincerely you can love. So, stop counting numbers and start valuing meaning. Choose the friend who listens over the crowd that cheers. Choose the quiet, focused effort over the frantic business. Choose fewer things done with your whole heart over many things done half-heartedly. Because at the end of the day, it's not the noise that fills you, but the depth. It's the quality that gives life its true richness. Focus on your growth. These 4 words are simple, yet they hold the key to transforming your life. Too often, we pour our energy into everything and everyone except ourselves. We chase validation from others. We compare our lives to people on social media. We spend hours worrying about who likes us, who doesn't, and what people think. But here's the truth. The only thing you can truly control, the only thing that will always be in your hands, is your growth. When you start focusing on that, everything else begins to change. Growth doesn't always look glamorous. It's not about big announcements or visible success that everyone applauds. Sometimes growth is quiet. It's waking up earlier to take care of your health. It's choosing to read a book instead of scrolling mindlessly through your phone. It's learning a new skill even when no one is watching. It's saying no to people or habits that drain you, even when it's hard. Real growth is internal first and external later. Think about a seed planted in the ground. For weeks, maybe even months, nothing appears on the surface. But underground, so much is happening. Roots are forming, the foundation is being built, and then slowly the sprout appears. Life is exactly like that. Your growth might not be visible to others right away, but every effort you make to improve yourself is building the foundation for something powerful. Many of us get stuck because we focus too much on others. We watch what they're achieving, where they're going, what they're buying, and we start feeling small. But comparison is the thief of growth. Your journey is yours alone. Just as no 2 trees grow at the same speed, no 2 people bloom at the same time. What matters isn't how quickly you grow, but that you're moving forward, even if the steps are small. Take a simple example: learning a skill. Let's say you've always wanted to learn a musical instrument. At first, it feels frustrating. Your fingers don't cooperate, the sounds don't make sense, and you're tempted to give up. But if you keep practicing slowly, you start to notice changes. The notes become clearer, your confidence grows, and what once felt impossible becomes second nature. That's the beauty of growth. It rewards consistency, not speed. Growth is also about mindset. How many times have you said, I can't do this, or I'm just not good enough? Those thoughts become barriers to your potential. But the moment you shift your mindset and start saying, I'm learning, I'm improving, I'm getting better, everything changes. Suddenly, challenges feel less like walls and more like stepping stones. There's another important aspect of growth: letting go of what no longer serves you. Sometimes we hold on to habits, relationships, or environments that keep us stuck because we're afraid of change. But growth requires shedding old layers. A snake cannot grow without shedding its skin. A tree cannot grow without letting go of its old leaves. In the same way, you cannot step into your next chapter while clinging to what belongs in the last one. I once heard a story of a young man who spent years trying to gain approval from his boss. He worked long hours, sacrificed his health, and constantly doubted himself, because no matter what he did, his efforts were never enough. One day, exhausted and broken, he realized something profound: he had been growing in the wrong direction. Instead of investing in his own skills, confidence, and dreams, he had been pouring everything into pleasing someone who would never truly value him. The moment he shifted his focus to his growth, taking courses, networking, and building his own path, his life began to change. Eventually, he left that job and created opportunities that aligned with his value. That is what happens when you choose yourself. Focusing on your growth also builds confidence. The more you invest in yourself, the less you depend on others for validation. When you know you're working on becoming the best version of yourself, the opinions of others begin to lose their power over you. You stop seeking approval because you start giving it to yourself. And the beautiful part, when you grow, everything around you starts to grow too. Your relationships improve because you're more confident and at peace. Your career progresses because you've developed skills and resilience. Your mental health strengthens because you've learned to prioritize what truly matters. Growth in one area of your life creates a ripple effect in every other area. Of course, growth is not always easy. It requires patience, discipline, and sometimes even loneliness. There will be days when you feel like giving up, days when you feel like you're not moving forward at all. But growth is like climbing a mountain. Sometimes you're on a steep path, sometimes it levels out, and sometimes you even feel like you're going backward. But as long as you keep climbing, you're still rising. And here's something powerful to remember: growth is not a race. You don't have to do everything at once. Start small, read one page of a book, spend 10 minutes learning a new skill, walk for 15 minutes every day, save a small amount of money each week. Small, consistent efforts build massive change over time. One day, you look back and realize that the person you are is someone you once wished you could be. You'll see how every step, every challenge, every small act of discipline led you to a stronger, wiser, more fulfilled version of yourself. So, focus on your growth, not on who's ahead of you or who's behind you, not on what others think or say. Your growth is your responsibility, your power, and your greatest investment. The more you choose to grow, the more you'll realize that the life you desire has been within your reach all along, waiting for you to become the person capable of living it. You said, ChatGPT said, silence is power. At first, those words may sound strange in a world that constantly celebrates noise. Everywhere you look, people are talking, arguing, debating, and expressing opinions, often louder than the person next to them. Social media has turned into a battlefield of voices where everyone wants to be heard, and silence is often mistaken for weakness. But here's the truth: silence is not weakness. Silence is strength. Silence is focus. Silence is wisdom. There is an old saying, even a fish wouldn't get caught if it kept its mouth shut. And there's deep wisdom in that. When you learn to embrace silence, you gain control over yourself and your surroundings in a way that noise never can. Think about your own life. How many times have you spoken in anger only to regret your words later? How many times have you explained yourself to someone who had already made up their mind, leaving you drained and unheard? Silence in those moments could have saved your peace. It could have shown strength without you uttering a single word. Silence is power because it gives you clarity. When you stop reacting to every situation, you start responding with thoughtfulness. Imagine a storm, wind, rain, thunder, chaos. But deep in the ocean, there's calm. That's what silence does for your mind. It creates space between the chaos of the outside world and the peace within you. In relationships, silence speaks volumes. Sometimes, walking away quietly from an argument says more than raising your voice ever could. When someone disrespects you, silence can be the most dignified response. It sends a message: I value my peace more than this argument. I won't lower myself to this level. And often, that quiet dignity earns you more respect than 1,000 angry words. Take a real-life example. Imagine you're in a workplace where someone constantly criticizes you, not to help you grow, but to bring you down. The instinctive reaction might be to defend yourself, to argue, to prove them wrong. But sometimes silence is the greatest comeback. You let your work speak for you. You let your results drown out their noise. Over time, people see the truth, not because you shouted it, but because you stayed calm and consistent while your success did the talking. Silence is also a teacher. It allows you to listen, truly listen, to the world around you. When you stop talking for a while, you begin to notice things you never did before: the emotions behind someone's words, the lessons hidden in a mistake, the opportunities quietly waiting for your attention. There's a story about a monk who lived high in the mountains. People from all over the world came to him for advice. One young man traveled for days to meet him, hoping to gain wisdom. When he finally arrived, he started talking non-stop about his problems, his goals, his dreams. The monk simply smiled and poured tea into a cup, filling it until it overflowed. Shocked, the young man asked, "Why are you overfilling the cup?" The monk replied, "Your mind is like this cup. It's already too full of noise. Until you empty it, until you embrace silence, there will be no room for wisdom, Silence also protects your energy. Not every comment deserves a response. Not every battle deserves your presence. When you choose silence, you are choosing peace. You are choosing to conserve your energy for what truly matters instead of wasting it on things that don't. Think about social media. Every day there's a new argument, a new controversy, a new debate. People jump into the noise, typing furiously to prove a point. But what does it change? Very little. Meanwhile, those who stay silent often use that time to build, to learn, to grow. And eventually, their quiet effort speaks louder than the noise ever could. Silence is also powerful in personal growth. Some of the greatest breakthroughs happen in moments of stillness. When you're sitting alone with your thoughts, reflecting, planning, or simply being, that's when ideas form. That's when healing begins. That's when you hear the quiet voice of your intuition, guiding you toward the right path. Even in nature, silence holds power. Stand in a forest at dawn, before the world wakes up. There's a sacred stillness there, a reminder that growth doesn't always make noise. Trees don't shout while they grow. Flowers don't scream while they bloom. They do their work in silence, and yet their presence changes everything around them. In life, silence often attracts the right kind of attention. People notice when you don't engage in gossip, when you don't rush to defend yourself, when you carry yourself with quiet confidence. That calm energy speaks louder than any words. It says, I know my worth. I don't need to prove it to anyone. I remember hearing about a woman who went through a difficult breakup. Instead of posting about it online or seeking revenge, she stayed silent. She focused on her healing, her work, and her personal growth. Months later, she was thriving, not because she had shouted her pain to the world, but because she had turned that pain into power in silence. This is what silence does. It allows you to turn inward, to recharge, to rise, and when you finally speak, your words carry more weight because they come from a place of strength and not from a place of desperation. Silence is not about running away. It's not about weakness. It's about choosing your battles wisely. It's about knowing that your energy is precious and that not everything deserves your attention. It's about understanding that sometimes the best response is no response at all. So, the next time you feel the urge to defend, to argue, to explain, pause. Take a deep breath. Choose silence. Let your actions, your growth, and your peace do the talking. Because in a world full of noise, silence isn't empty. It's full of power.